What's going on, YouTube? I'm Andrew Crawford, the HD Legend, yo boy, the GOAT. Not the GOAT, but I look like a GOAT. Close enough, am I right? I think I'm right. And today on the channel, I will be talking about a 6-time WWE or World Heavyweight Champion, a record-setting 9-time Intercontinental Champion, a 1-time IWGP Intercontinental Champion, a former Tag Team Champion, alongside the likes of Chris Benoit and Edge, a former United States Champion, and if I'm being honest, he is my second favorite Canadian wrestler of all time, straight from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Y2J, the Ayatollah of rock and roll, whatever you want to call him. I call him one of the GOATs. In my opinion, he's one of the top 5 in-ring performers of all time, all-around professional wrestler, top 5, Chris Jericho. And what am I talking about? His top 10 matches of all time. Number 10, this match was probably the best of the Jericho-Cena rivalry that they, briefly had in 2008. And this match was for the World Heavyweight Championship in Boston at Survivor Series. This is probably one of my favorite Jericho matches, and in my opinion, top 10 for the sheer fact that John Cena broke something right around here. I think he broke his collarbone and was supposed to be out from... He got injured in August, and he was supposed to be out till, like, after WrestleMania. He came back in November, so I guess the injury wasn't that bad, or he's just Superman and rehabs quicker, because this was a legitimate injury. But he still wrestled a great match with Jericho. And again, this is more for the moment than the match, but Cena winning the world title in front of a rabid, technically hometown crowd was something really cool, because that was at the point where Cena was getting booed constantly by older fans. But at this moment, he was getting cheered by everyone in attendance, and it just made for a very great match. Number 9, versus the phenomenal AJ Styles at WrestleMania 32. This match, for me, is one of his best, because this is obviously towards the later years of his career, because he's definitely there now at the end. And at WrestleMania 32, this was one of Jericho's last runs, and this was AJ's first. And what really made it cool was we were watching the guy that for years had been the face of TNA, who was trying to be WWE's biggest competition at the time, take on one of the guys that was really quintessential to WWE for a long time. And watching them have a match at the biggest WWE pay-per-view was wild. Because when you realize that a company that gets so much flack for its treatment of stars that come from other companies was allowing an outsider from a different company wrestle on the grandest stage of them all, and then would eventually become a multiple-time world champion, a Grand Slam champion, and honestly one of the most, being more recognizable for his work in WWE than he is for his work in New Japan. That's pretty phenomenal, no pun intended. Do I think Jericho winning was the right move? No, but it obviously did nothing to slow the momentum of the phenomenal one. I love this match. Number 8, Unforgiven 2008 versus Shawn Michaels. And I'm cheating by doing the World Heavyweight Title Championship Scramble, but I'm also going to do that because it was technically an overlying story of the entire night. And before I talk more about the match, I've not done this, but I'm going to give star ratings for the matches. My number 10, I give it, honestly, a 3.5-star performance, but the crowd alone brings it up to 4 stars. WrestleMania 32, I give a 4-star performance. The crowd energy behind it brings it up to 4.5. And now let's talk about this match a little bit. Jericho and Shawn Michaels were in the rivalry of the summer. That's what that was. There's no arguing any other feud from 2008 to be better, because there's not a better feud. maybe Undertaker and Edge, but that's because I have a soft spot for both those guys. But I think that what really sets this whole story night apart is the fact that Jericho took a butt kicking. Like, Shawn Michaels took a leather belt and just wailed on Jericho for most of that match, and it was brutal to watch as an 8-year-old. Like, ow, dude, chill, what'd he do? Then I remembered, oh yeah, he punched your wife. Okay, yeah, if I ever get married and someone punches my wife, I'm gonna kill him. I didn't say that for legal reasons, that is a joke. But anyways, and then later that night, CM Punk gets attacked by Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and a wrestler named Manu, who I do not know why he was ever there, and I kind of don't understand, but anyways. And Randy punted him, which became a very synonymous move with Orton. And then Mike Adamle announced that there's going to be a 5th wrestler still. It's just not Punk. Out came Jericho. Jericho won the world title and went on to have probably my favorite world title run of his entire career, from like September to November. In 2 months, he was the top heel of the company, and he was the guy, and I absolutely love this gimmick, and I kind of wish he'd bring that back. Versus Triple H at WrestleMania 18, number 7. That little storyline, I give it honestly 4 stars, just because of how well it went for the company. It was actually pretty well received by a lot of fans that were older and kind of understood the story aspect, so I love that. But anyways, Triple H and Chris Jericho had a match at WrestleMania 18, you know, The Rock versus Hogan one, that technically speaking was a better overall match. The crowd just wasn't as into it, which sucks because that makes me bring the star rating down. And it was a fun match. Like, it was actually a really good, well-worked match between these guys. They killed it. But it was one of those things, you know, why didn't you let this match go on earlier if you know that Rock and Hogan is going to be the most electrifying match of the night? But anyways, it was still a great match. Triple H winning was the right move because he had the most momentum in that match, and momentum actually is important because if the fans know you got the momentum, they're by far not expecting you to lose. But anyways, I give this match 3 stars. It would be 4 if the crowd was more into it. Number 6, the Men's Survivor Series match at Survivor Series 2016. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Team Raw consisted of Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Team SmackDown consisted of AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Shane McMahon. This match is one of my favorite matches in not only Chris Jericho's career, but in Survivor Series history, because this was the first time they brought back the brand supremacy stuff, and not to mention it was a fun hour-long just fest of Shane McMahon getting legitimately knocked out, the Shield reuniting, James Ellsworth getting launched off the stage, Chris Jericho going crazy because his list got destroyed. Just all this, you know, underlying stories of SmackDown turning on each other because Ambrose was desperate to get the title back from Styles, you know. This match put so much into 50-something minutes, I think 51 exactly, to have a great match and a great little fun spot of Survivor Series ever. This is an all-time great at Survivor Series, and this is an all-time great in Jericho's career. I love this. Team SmackDown winning was definitely right because they had the younger talent. Granted, Randy Orton was one of the main sole survivors, but it was still fun, you know. I genuinely love this match, and I give it 5 stars. I love this match too much to give it anything less. Number 5, the match that gave Chris Jericho record-breaking Intercontinental Championship number 9 Rey Mysterio at Extreme Rules 2009. He got Intercontinental Championship number 9 in 2009. That's pretty lit. But anyways, why do I put this match so high? One, this was the best mid-card feud of 2009. Granted, it was between two bona fide main eventers. But they turned up in this feud, you know, and this match was just probably their best one for me. Actually, no, it's not their best match, but it's the only one that Jericho won of the 3 they had, so kind of gotta give it to this one. If I'm talking about Jericho matches, especially, because, come on, you can't put a match that he lost. Actually, I've already done that. But anyways, this match was, again, filled with high energy, high drama, and the spot where Jericho unmasked Rey, and that caused him to lose because he was trying to hide his face due to the fact that getting unmasked as a luchador is something that causes dishonor to your career and your family. That is storytelling at its best, and that is one thing that the 9-time Intercontinental Champion Chris Jericho does so well. And again, honestly, this match, I give 4.5 stars. I love this match with everything in me. It's probably the best technical match of the pay-per-view and the second best overall of the night. I love this match. It's in the top 5 for sure. Number 4, another great match in this beautiful belt's legacy at Royal Rumble 2001 versus, to quote Paul Heyman, amongst the top 5 in-ring talents of all time. That is a direct Paul Heyman quote. Don't believe me? Look it up. Look up Paul Heyman calls out fan for backing up Chris Benoit. Anyways, Jericho and Benoit, Royal Rumble 2001. This is probably one of my favorite one-on-one ladder matches of all time, because they did so much more than just hit each other with ladders, hit each other with crazy spots, and then have a winner. They busted each other up with chain wrestling, with storytelling, and with crazy spots. They put 3 of the best things about pro wrestling into one pot and stirred it into the most perfect ladder match of all time. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit, Intercontinental Championship, 5 stars, without a doubt. Number 3, versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19. A year after losing to one member of DX, he lost to another. But in another, let me adjust my camera, in another fantastic match, you know, I don't know what it is about these DX boys, but they get the best work out of Jericho. I swear they do. But I definitely would give this match 4 stars. I mean, I'd give it 5 stars if there wasn't a better Shawn Michaels match out there that I'm going to get to in a minute. Maybe 2. But I love this match for the sheer animosity that was already forming between 2 of the all-time greats. That would lead to probably the best feud of the year of 2008. And that's something special to me because it's not the first match I remember watching, no. But it's the first older match from before I remember that I was curious about. My mom bought me a DVD called The Greatest Superstars of WrestleMania. Sure enough, this match was on there. And I was like, I want to watch it, see what it's about. It was a phenomenal match on a phenomenal WrestleMania. I do think Michaels winning was the right call here. I give it 4 stars. Let's get into my top 2. Number 2, TLC 3. Between the Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the most randomly thrown together tag team of all time. 2 people that were literally feuding over the Intercontinental Championship 4 months prior to this match. Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. Now, I have a special place in my heart for this match because 1, 2 of my top 2 favorite wrestlers of all time are in this match. Jeff Hardy and Edge. One of my favorite wrestlers that's not in my top 10, i.e. he's literally number 11 or tied for number 10 with Rey Mysterio, Christian, is in this match. In my opinion, the three greatest tag teams of all time, plus Benoit and Jericho, had probably the most entertaining TLC match we've ever had on free TV, nonetheless. And Jericho and Benoit retained over three of the best tag teams of all time, if not the three best of all time. Sorry. You cannot tell me this is not one of the best matches of Jericho's career. You cannot tell me this is not one of the best matches of any of these guys' careers. Because when I get to Jeff and when I get to Edge, this match will be on the list just like it is with Jericho. I can't promise it'll be number 2, but I can promise it will be on those lists. Spoiler alert, Jeff and Edge are my last 2, so get ready. But I love this, and I think that this is probably the best televised TLC match of all time. I would also argue TLC 4, we'll call that one an honorable mention. And number 1, the best match, in my opinion, of Chris Jericho's career was not for this, it was not for that. It was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Big gold, the most beautiful wrestling belt of all time, in my opinion. And it was probably the second, maybe first, most creative finish to a ladder match in WWE or professional wrestling, for that matter's history. They had a fun ladder match that resulted in one of the greatest moments in WWE history. Okay, that's a stretch. But they were having a tug of war for the title. And Jericho just fell back and just fell and kept the title because the momentum pulled the title down. And not to mention, this was the culmination to, again, the best feud of the year of 2008. And the first year I really took wrestling as seriously as I do now, which has helped me build a YouTube channel of a whopping 100 subscribers. And a lot of money spent on belts, and yeah. But anyways, I love this match. This is my Jericho match. If I ever wanted to show someone a match to get them into Chris Jericho specifically, this would be the match. His heel work was top-notch. His work in general was top-notch. His work with Michael's work was top-notch. And they put together the best one-on-one ladder match of all time. The Innovator versus the Inventor in one of the best matches of Jericho. In the best match of Jericho's career. Jericho winning was the right call here, and I give it, if I could give it 1,000,000 stars, I would, but instead I can only give it 5. That's what I'll give. 5 stars to this classic. And that's the video. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Did you kind of like it? Did you dislike it? Let me know about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned next time for my number 5 entry on this series. The Viper, the Apex Predator, the 14-time WWE Champion, Randy Orton. And with that being said, again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Show it to everyone you know that likes wrestling. Probably not a lot of them, but still show it. I'm Andrew, and I will see you soon.